How are you guys doing? This is Ryan. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing my part 4 of my success series. In today's video, we're going to be focusing on happiness, how to be happy, and if money can in fact make you happy. Every month, the first week of the month, I do a video dedicated to the idea of becoming successful. And so far I've covered a lot of financial things, but I really want to touch on the idea of happiness, because without happiness, who really cares about how much money you have? In this video, we're going to jump into all of that and more. So if you guys like content like this, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell so YouTube notifies you every time I upload a video. And also just hitting that like button helps this channel reach a broader audience. And also I love when everyone leaves comments down below. I love all the feedback and I make sure to respond to every comment. But before we jump into the video, I would first like to thank this video's sponsor, and that is coffee. With working crazy amounts of hours, numerous side hustles, chasing around an almost 4-year-old, and expecting a baby girl any second now, and maybe after this video is published, she might actually be here, this video would not be capable without coffee, so thank you, coffee. Everything I'm going to cover in this video is based on my personal experiences and numerous hours of research and study. I have to say I've been a pretty happy person, probably the happiest I ever remember being, but I was not always this way. In the past, probably about from the time I was 18 to like 22, I had pretty intense anxiety, numerous anxiety attacks. So this journey to happiness I've been studying for many, many years, and I'm really excited to cover it in this video. Things I've learned that have helped me come such a long way. I'm not a professional by any means, but I'm just a guy sharing his experience. And one thing I've learned is that our brain is about 2 million years old, and it's designed to survive, not to necessarily make you happy. Some humans actually have a higher disposition for anxiety, and this was very important for the survival of our species. For example, when early hunters and gatherers would kill the woolly mammoth, and the tribe would feast on that woolly mammoth, some of them would go to sleep fat and happy, while others waited up all night, pacing around making sure the hyenas didn't come. And I've said this before, but our brain is rather basic. It either moves towards pleasure or away from pain. And one of the key components I've found for happiness is happiness occurs when you're able to meet your own expectations that you have set for yourself. This is a primary reason why a multimillionaire can be depressed compared to someone with much less can be much happier. The universe and people around you are not always going to live up to your expectations, so you kind of have to learn how to deal with these things. Suppressing what is making you unhappy only makes the situation worse, I've found. When you have that sobering experience of identifying what is causing you to suffer, it is key to creating a plan of action. In a sense, suffering that you're going through is your body's way to tell you to take action. And by taking action, I mean to identify your expectations and what you're doing to meet them. As I mentioned before, happiness is when you're able to meet your own expectations set for yourself. So you have to either alter your expectations or really try to sit down and ask yourself, are you doing all the things necessary that will allow you to meet the expectations you set for yourself? So for example, if you want to have a happier marriage, are you putting in the time and devotion into your partner? Or if you want to make more money would make you happier, are you working extra, or are you trying other tactics to increase your income so you can meet the expectations you set for yourself? If you cannot find a way to meet your own expectations, maybe it is best just to lower your expectations. Rinse and repeating this process until you have a very strong correlation between what you're doing to meet your expectations and if you're accomplishing your expectations. The next thing I want to jump into is the age-old question, does money have any effect on your level of happiness? There's a lot of ways to approach this question, but there are studies done in the United States that show if a person who is making $75,000 a year, they are much, much more happier than someone making $7,500 a year. But someone who is making $7.5 million a year isn't proportionally happier than the person that is making $75,000 a year. So what we're seeing is that money has a diminishing effect on your level of happiness. And this can be best illustrated if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And pretty much that number, $75,000 a year, seems to represent that you can take care of all your basic needs: food, water, warmth, adequate rest, adequate safety, security. And then the higher up we go on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we see that things like psychological needs and self-fulfillment needs are not as predicated on money. And this is why you have diminishing effects on happiness and higher levels of income. But to jump into this idea further, Michael Norton did a great TED Talk, and he said, if you don't think money can buy happiness, you're not spending it right. For example, spending money on materialism seems to have this quick dopamine rush of excitement and wears off over time, as it does not fulfill a lot of things on the hierarchy of needs. But what Michael Norton did point out is that spending money on others, following passions, personal growth, have a longer lasting impact of happiness. And I attribute this to the chemical that's released in these kind of processes is oxytocin. To learn more on the body's effects of chemicals released into the body, I really recommend watching Simon Sinek's talk. It's titled Why Leaders Eat Last, and he pretty much goes over how humans became such a successful species because of the chemicals that get shot into our body and the importance of oxytocin towards our species' success. So if you want to learn more about that, I'll have that video linked in the description below. I do think it is important to look at money's role in marriage. We see that finance is the #1 cause of divorce, and I don't think this would necessarily be solved by having a lot more money, but I think financial education would greatly help marriages as well. What to do with money, how to invest it for the long term, don't get into credit card debt, the basics that us Americans seem to struggle with. The next topic I want to cover in understanding happiness is really the 2 best ways to deal with adversity, because the better you deal with adversity, the more happy you're going to be. And to the contrary, the worse you deal with adversity, life is going to be much tougher and unhappy. So I believe it is critical to best care for your nervous system. Having a healthy body with good nutrition, exercise, those things are essential to having your body respond to adversity. But what I found to be the most important is actually sleep. And I learned a lot from a gentleman named Dr. Matthew Walker. He is putting out amazing work and study to show how important sleep is to positively help a human. And it also shows how the detriment of sleep is actually quite lethal. And I want to play a clip that shows us how twice a year there's a worldwide study done on humans when they gain sleep and when they lose sleep. I'll play the clip here.
Or I could tell you about sleep loss and your cardiovascular system, and that all it takes is 1 hour. Because there is a global experiment that is performed on 1.6 billion people across 70 countries twice a year. And it's called daylight savings time. Now, in the spring, when we lose 1 hour of sleep, we see a subsequent 24% increase in heart attacks the following day. In the autumn, in the fall, when we gain an hour of sleep, we see a delightful 21% reduction in heart attacks. That's how fragile and vulnerable our bodies are to even just the smallest perturbation of sleep. I think many of us would think nothing about losing an hour of sleep.
So guys, I found this to be so fascinating, and after studying Dr. Matthew Walker closer, I started indulging in sleep and getting the best possible deep REM sleep I possibly could. I strongly recommend looking at all of his work and learning how to get your body 7 to 9 hours with deep REM sleep to allow your body to heal and live a much longer, happy, prosperous life. And sleep may be the most important thing I've mentioned in this video. If it's not, it is tied to the next one. And the next thing that I have found to be critical towards success is gratitude. Gratitude. So let's jump into that further. There have been studies that have shown that just writing down a few things that you are grateful for every night before you go to sleep is actually more effective than prescription pills. And what's even better about this is gratitude has no negative side effects. And I'll just play a clip here. You guys have seen commercials like this, but for these antidepressant pills, they have a lot of unintended possible consequences. I want to preface before playing this, I'm not a medical professional, and there are people that really need medication, but what I'm saying is to consider gratitude as an option as well, or first, or consult with your doctor before any of this. But this really gets me thinking.
I still struggled with my depression. I was managing, but it always had a way of creeping up on me. I felt stuck. I just couldn't shake my depression. So I talked to my doctor. He said adding Abilify to my antidepressant could help with my depression, and that some people had symptom improvement as early as 1 to 2 weeks. He also told me about a free trial offer from Abilify. Now, I feel more in control of my depression.
Abilify is not for everyone. Call your doctor if your depression worsens or if you have unusual changes in behavior or thoughts of suicide. Antidepressants can increase these in children, teens, and young adults. Elderly dementia patients taking Abilify have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor if you have high fever, stiff muscles, and confusion to address a possible life-threatening condition, or if you have uncontrollable muscle movements, as these could become permanent. High blood sugar has been reported with Abilify and medicines like it. In some cases, extreme high blood sugar can lead to coma or death. Other risks include decreases in white blood cells, which can be serious, dizziness upon standing, seizures, trouble swallowing, and impaired judgment or motor skills.
Depression used to define me. Then my doctor added Abilify to my antidepressant. Now, I feel better.
So after watching that, I have to say, it's worth giving gratitude a shot. Again, some people may absolutely need medication, and I'm not trying to be insensitive to that, but there are numerous studies out there that show how gratitude can actually rewire your brain, and it's risk-free with no side effects, and definitely worth giving a shot. Gratitude, you will see, is one of the underlying principles of religion and meditation. Practicing gratitude has always worked wonders for me to make me sit down and realize how good I have it. And if you're watching this, there is something to be grateful for. And you will be astounded if you look at the world through that lens, just how much happier you can be. So guys, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you agree with things I mentioned in this video? Or do you disagree with anything I've said? Or do you just think I've left anything out? And if you've made it this far in the video, I want to ask about what you guys think about what I've been doing with the channel. I've been doing my uploads every Sunday in the morning, about 10:45, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I've been doing a premiere because I really like engaging with people. And I'm not pressuring myself to put out multiple videos in a week. I just want to put out at least one high quality video a week. And I put a lot of hours into work into one video because I want when you guys come to the channel to know you're going to get a quality video with good research, good aesthetics, an enjoyable video to watch. So let me know if you guys like the Sunday morning upload date or if you think there would be any better time to upload. I want to make sure I'm doing what the subscribers most enjoy. Also, if you guys want to follow me for daily updates and also track when my baby girl's coming, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'll put my handle here on the screen. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.